to the Super Bowl. You only win a Super Bowl 2 times every 5 years, right? Oh! The warm-up act is over. Let's bring in Melissa Etheridge, massive Chiefs fan. Melissa,
Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, and Trent Green. Trent Green, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
And he picked it up! He picked it up! He's gonna score! And we'll see you next week. But until then, as always, go Chiefs. Welcome into the Arrowhead Addict podcast. It is December 4th, Thursday. That means it's time for the OG Hour. Patrick Allen here with you, joined by my pal, the other OG from Sports Illustrated, Matt Verderame. Well, Verderame, it's been a little bit of a rough go for the Chiefs since the last time you and I talked. It's been, I don't know, to borrow a phrase I hear you use a lot, unmitigated disaster.
Yeah,
would maybe be a good one. How are you feeling as a Chiefs fan these days?
I was going to say a little bit of a rough go. It's kind of like asking Mary Lincoln how the play went. She's like, it's all right. Yeah, I mean, it's how am I feeling? I'm honestly kind of two different ways at the same time. Like in one way, I really believe if they could get in the playoffs, they're dangerous just because this conference is terrible and they have all the experience in the world and some firepower and everything else. On the other hand, there's a part of me that's like, I'm so worn out watching this team play like this every week that if you're going to lose and you're going to polish the season off, just go for it. Because I can't stand watching one more game of this team taking 10 plus penalties and then going out and just failing to get a pass rush without blitzing like 8 guys every game. I'm kind of just to a juncture of either start playing real football or just stop playing football in general and just go home after these next 5 weeks. Like I think I believe in the analytics would show you that if they win these next 2 games, they're probably going to make the playoffs. Certainly if they win out, they will. But, you know, what are the odds they win both of these next 2 games? I don't know. Maybe it's a coin flip. Maybe it's a little worse. Maybe it's a lot worse. It's got to be, but it's not, whatever it is, it's not great. It's not great odds.
Yeah, on one hand, you feel, and we're going to talk about this as we get deeper into the podcast here. On one hand, you're like, well, we still have a shot. As bad as things have been, we still have a shot. And if you've watched this team over the last decade, you know they can go on a run. They went on a run with Alex Smith, let alone Patrick Mahomes. So you know they can do it, at least to end the season. Who knows what happens in the playoffs? But they've given you no indication this season that they're capable of doing it, right? They've done it in the past, but not this season. All the times this season where in previous seasons the run would have started. They're coming back from the bye week. They figured some things out, playing opponents they should beat. Just every time, it's like, I don't know if you ever play craps, but
no,
it reminds me of like last season they were playing craps. It's all about rolling the dice, and obviously it's a casino game, so the odds are stacked against you. If you play long enough, you're going to lose, just like every other casino game. One of the fun things about craps is if you play it right, you can lose a lot slower. And it's what, if you've never played it, you've seen I'm sure you've seen it in all these movies where people are all standing around the table and they're screaming every time somebody rolls the dice, because you can go on these runs where you win. And almost every time I've played craps, I've had runs where I'm up, sometimes up big. And it's about knowing when to walk away and not getting greedy. But you always see people cheering because everybody wins when certain things happen. So at any rate, that's what I feel like the Chiefs have been the last couple of years. Is they just been they've been rolling, and their numbers been coming up, and they've been avoiding it. And then all of a sudden, and I've had these runs with craps. Once I was up $3,000 and I lost all of it because I started betting real big, you know. I'm like, oh, I'm up, man. Like, I'm playing with house money. And it was like, I lose. And I convinced myself, well, I can't keep losing. Like, eventually my number, I'm going to win. Nope. Loss. And you just watch it go down. And that is like last year, the Chiefs playing craps, they were on a hot run. All those close games, whether they blocked a field goal or the other team screwed up, Their number came up. Their number came up. Their number came up. And this year, all L's. Everything, that 50-50 ball in the Cowboys game, who was it? Was it Leo Chanel? Who was laying right there? Tranquil. The ball was like right in front of him, but it came out right after he started going in the other direction. He had no chance to get the ball. And it's like you recover that fumble or you get the interception off the deflection earlier in that, you probably win that game. And people aren't freaking out as much, but nothing has gone their way this year.
I mean, nothing has, but at the same point, they have not deserved anything to go their way this year. They've played like shit relentlessly for 12 weeks. And, look, I would point to, God, I could fill up the whole hour talking about all the things that they've done to beat themselves for 12 games. I mean, even in games they've won at times where they've just looked, even like the Giants game, where it was like they just were a disaster for a quarter or for a half and a half and another quarter where they finally decided, like, yeah, I guess we can try to win this game. This is not a good team right now. It's not. I think it's a talented team in some ways. I think there are other rooms that are less talented, like the D-line, the running back room. But, like, talk about the D-line room for a minute. They have two guys in that room that are combined making $55 million a year on their current contracts. They can't get any pressure. They can't do anything. And if I got to see one more analytic thing, it's like the Chiefs are one of the 3 top teams in pressures. Based on what? They don't get any pressure. Jones, I think, has had a good year. Karlaftis has been okay. Everybody else has been awful. Do you know Mike Danis here has 4 tackles? 4 tackles. Do you know how possible that is?
Yeah.
4 tackles? Like, bro, you could stick a cardboard cutout on the field. The thing would have 4 tackles in 10 games. You kidding?
Yeah.
I mean, but that's obviously a massive problem. They have talent in secondary. They have talent to a degree at linebacker. They have talent all over the field in offense. And I would point to, look, they've taken turns. I think Mahomes has been excellent this year by and large, but he's had some really costly interceptions down at the goal line. Couple that are on him, one that was not. Kelsey's drop against Philly. They have had games where they have run the ball under center really effectively and then just completely stopped doing it. They have had games where they've taken 10-plus penalties. In fact, 4 of their 6 losses are games they've taken double-digit penalties in. They have been a disaster in the kicking game, whether it's been Butker himself or covering kicks or trying to get returns. My dad and I have a running joke during the game. Like, will they return a kick to the 30? We've been joking about this for 5 weeks. They've done it once. Once in 5 weeks.
Wow.
They stink. Like, at some point, you stink. They stink. Like, they have not played well. 3rd and long, they're a disaster. I forget who it was. Maybe it was Nick Wright or Mina Kine. I can't remember. Somebody said they have the 4th lowest success rate on 3rd and long defensively in the NFL. They're a disaster. Like, they just can't do anything. They can't get pressure. They can't stop anybody from throwing on 3rd and long. Obviously, those things go hand in hand. Bo Nix almost threw for 300 yards against them. Like, they have the capability to play very well, as they have demonstrated at times, but they just don't do it a lot. They don't do it a lot.
Yeah.
And I maybe that changes. Maybe some magical thing is in the offing going forward. But, like, I got to be honest. Like, if they win this Sunday, it's going to be because of Mahomes. Like, they're just going to win the game because he just plays great football. And defensively against a very limited offense, they just do enough. And they win like 20-17 because Mahomes is just Mahomes. And he's the best pressure quarterback in the league, both like literally in a big game and against actual pressure. Statistically speaking, that's unassailable. Like, he's been awesome against it. If teams don't blitz, he's incredible. They don't blitz a ton. So, like, maybe they win this game because of him. But if they win, that's going to be why. It's not going to be because the rest of his team decides to show up and play like A+ football.
Yeah, the stat from on Mina Kime's show this year, when the Chiefs blitz, they're 31st in yards per play, 28th in pressure rate, and 31st in sack rate. That's when they blitz. And you're very prophetic, as you often are on this show, because our first segment, when we've already started talking about it, was, what's the root of the Chiefs' struggles? But I want to pose this to you, because I think this is the thing that drives Chiefs fans crazy. You were talking a lot about advanced metrics and things that don't seem to make any sense. Well, what about these metrics? The Chiefs are 10th in on defense. They're 10th in passing yards per game allowed, 9th in rushing, and 7th in points. On offense, they're 5th in yards per game, 2nd in passing, and 15th in rushing, 9th in points. If I told you that before the season, you probably would have thought they'd be undefeated.
Yes. But what that doesn't account for are the killer turnovers they've had in these games. Like I could point to, okay, so the Eagles game. Now that wasn't on Mahomes. That was on Kelsey. If they score a touchdown there, like they should have, like if you make a normal football play, you score a touchdown there, they probably win. They probably win that game, but they don't. The Jags game. Now I give Devin Lloyd a lot of credit. He made a great play on the ball. But that's also, I'm sure if you ask Mahomes, a play that Mahomes would tell you, no, man, listen, you can't make that throw. Like, that cost him the game. That play single-handedly reversed that game. I would argue that the Denver game, okay, now the Denver game's a little more convoluted, but he throws a pick down at the goal line where they're going to kick a field goal and they're going to get 3 points, a chip shot field goal. They end up losing the game by 3 points. But now you could argue too that drive was cooked when Taylor took a illegal formation penalty for the 800th time in his career. And it would have been 1st and goal at the 2, and they've got Hunt, they're going to score. But that's kind of the point, right? Like the offense, yes, has moved the ball and they've scored points, but they have killed themselves in huge spots all year long. And like, even the Colts game, like they got over it, they overcame it, but they have a fumble inside the 10-yard line in the 4th quarter. Now, yeah, they overcame it, but they almost ended their own season right there. Like, this has been a theme with this team. 1st and goal at the 1 against Buffalo. They can't get in the end zone. Can't score. Like, yes, they're moving the ball and they're scoring points, and obviously that's the end goal here. But they've had so many chances this year to put games on ice offensively, and they just can't do it. And like, I mean, we're sitting here, look, they're 6-6. If they don't throw, if you just take out the goal line interceptions, if that's all you changed about this team season, they're probably 9-3. At worst, probably 8-4. Like, but you can't do that. They happened. And here we are, 6-6.
Dan Orlovsky tweeted, the 5 worst second half defenses by QBR allowed is the Chiefs, Titans, Dolphins, Cowboys, and Giants. And it's, for me, it's the pass rush is so pitiful that whenever teams, and this is why I think they're particularly bad in the second half. It's not because necessarily they're gassed. It's because it's the end of the game. The games are tight and teams have to throw. And when teams are throwing on this team, they can't get any pressure. And so they look worse in the second half because teams aren't trying to be balanced. There's a lot of game left. They're maybe a little more conservative. And when they play anybody, I'm talking halfway decent quarterbacks. Forget about Dak Prescott and the way he carved them up because he's got good receivers. He knows what's going on. They got carved up by Bo Nix. They gave up a game-winning drive to Trevor Lawrence. Like, those guys aren't terrible quarterbacks, but they're not good either. Like, they're middle-of-the-road quarterbacks. They can be good on, right now. To me, it all comes down. I know everyone was frustrated with the pass interference calls against the Cowboys, but like, those guys are trying their butts off. Those are hard receivers to cover, and there's just no pressure. So they have no chance. They can't run around back there and cover CeeDee Lamb for 20 minutes. You can't cover George Pickens forever. Look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. And on the other side, we're going to talk about what's next for the Chiefs, whether that's how do you fix this team? What do we expect for the rest of the year? And then, of course, we'll preview this game coming up between the Chiefs and the Texans, which is critical. We're going to take a break first, and we'll see you on the other side. Football season is in full swing, and Underdog is the place to get in on all the action. Underdog is so easy. You just pick whether your favorite players are going to go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. And if you get your picks right, you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. I love Underdog. It's super fun. It's a great second screen experience while I'm watching a game. I got my phone out. I'm checking on my Underdog picks. Kind of like fantasy. It's just another way to play and get more immersive fun out of watching sports. This week, I'm looking at this Bills-Bengals game. Bengals defense is absolutely putrid. They're terrible. They've been bad all season, and you can run on them. So I'm going James Cook higher than 96.5 rushing yards. I think he's going to chew him up on the ground, and I think this game's going to be a shootout. Joe Burrow's back, so give me Jamar Chase higher than 87.5 1.5 receiving yards. So all you got to do is download the app today, and you can sign up with our promo code Arrowhead Addict to score $100 in bonus entries when you place your first $5. That's promo code Arrowhead Addict. Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, or Pennsylvania. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York to 467-369. All right, we're back here at the Arrowhead Addict podcast. It's the OG Hour. Patrick Allen and Matt Verderame with you. So we want to talk about, and by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. Let's go. What's next for the Chiefs, Verderame?
The draft.
It's not good. And I think a lot of people are looking at the fact that, if they win out, they're gonna make the playoffs based on the way other teams play each other. It's an almost certainty.
They will. Yes, they would get it.
Yeah, and assuming they play slightly better football than they have, they have their hardest games. The Texans, the Broncos, and Chargers are at home, and then they play the Raiders and the Titans. Those are games that even they can't find a way to lose, I don't think. The way they've been playing this year. Is it a fool's errand to believe that they can turn things around this season?
No, but it's not a fool's errand because of their pedigree. It's a fool's errand based on what they've looked like this year. Yeah. I mean, the problem with this team is that there's not just one obvious problem. Like, it's the turnovers at the worst time. It's the penalties constantly. It's defensively not being able to get any kind of a pass rush. I am as big a Spags fan as you'll ever find. I think the way he's deployed the personnel this year is insane. Now, up front, I don't think they have much of an option. Their front just stinks. Like, there's nothing you're doing about that. I don't blame him for that. Nick Bolton on the field on third down every down is just insane. It's insane. He can't cover anyone. They actively choose to just put him on the field every third down. And Spags has talked about the fact that, it's because of his intellect. Great. I understand that he's smart. Is everyone else on the field a moron? I imagine that somebody else could get them into a defense. In 2023, Bolton got hurt in week 2. And he missed a big chunk of the year. Drew Tranquil, who had been on the team for about an hour, came in and called that defense, and they were fine. Nothing changed. Nothing. There is empirical evidence that shows that other guys can come in and call that defense, and they're fine. And yet, they have this fetish for just playing him literally 100% of the time. They have the best slot corner in the NFL, and they keep putting Shamari Connor inside. I just don't, what are we doing? Why? He can't do it. He's awful. He is an awful, awful slot corner. He's a good safety. He's fine at safety. He's a terrible slot corner. Do it every game. And then they went to Roland Wallace, and of course now because it's 2025, Roland Wallace is now hurt. So now it's right back to playing Shamari Connor inside. They've gotten more zone heavy on a team that I feel like needs to be more man heavy because they need to just blitz and play man behind it and play press with Watson and McDuffie and just take your chances. And Noah Williams is built to do that, and they just won't play Noah Williams despite the fact he's been very good when he's played. So the defense, the personnel, I don't understand what the hell's happening in the back seven. The front four is not the personnel. The personnel just stinks. Offensively, we've talked about it. Special teams, Butker has been a disaster one way or the other all year long. Either he's missing kicks, or he's kicking kickoffs out of bounds, or he's missing the landing zone, which, I think sometimes people go, oh, well, you get 20-yard line. That is a space. The field is 53 1/3 yards wide. So you're talking about a space that is roughly, 160 feet wide and 20 yards back. So 60 by 160, and he can't put it in there. Can't do it. That's like kicking the ball on the beach and not hitting the ocean. Are you kidding me? How are you missing that? Like, done it multiple times this year. You just can't hit it. They can't cover kicks. They don't return kicks well. They have been, the coaching this year, I think, has been awful all the way around. Like, all, and no, like, they're not firing Andy. They should not fire Andy. That's insane. The guy's been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. Like, people that scream that they need to fire Andy Reid, like, I honestly wonder if those people need to be evaluated. But
Lobotomy.
yeah, a full lobotomy at this point. Like, if you genuinely want them to fire Andy Reid, you need to seek professional help. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. But I will say, at the same point, they need a new voice in there to just, like, to give out new ideas, to shake it up a little bit. Matt Nagy is doing nothing to help this team win football games. Nothing. And I had to watch the presser on Thursday where he's talking about, the penalties, we got to figure it out. Bro, you need to figure it out 10 weeks ago. You need to figure it out 2 years ago with Juwan Taylor. Like, how hard is this? How hard is it to figure out, hey, you know why Juwan gets called all the time for penalties? Because he doesn't know where the line of scrimmage is. He's Ray Charles lining up. Like, Helen Keller watches the Chiefs, and she's like, hey, you're offside. You're not lined up right. And yet the Chiefs have no idea that they're doing this all the time. This stuff's obvious. This is obvious stuff. So I think all 3 phases are complicit. I think the coaching staff is complicit. Like, it has not been good enough top down. Why? There's a lot of reasons we could debate, but I think all that's factual at this point in the season.
Yeah, and I've seen I have a hard time because I vacillate back and forth between thinking maybe some of these criticisms are definitely true, and then I wonder how much is overreaction, right? Like, I've seen people on social media are like, this is late stage Eagles Andy Reid. It's like, I saw Colin Cowherd the other day. It's impossible to turn around. This is it, and that just seems crazy to me. It's been 12 games. Like, sometimes there's no indication that they need to make any kind of major changes coming into the season, right? Like, they were just in the Super Bowl. You had offensive line issues. You didn't have receivers. Like, now everything is different. You should be playing better. Now, okay, it's fair to be like, all right, hey, like, this snuck up on us. It happens. Everything we've been doing has been working like gangbusters for 7-8 years now. We're going to have to make some major changes. But for the people that go to the extreme of let's fire Andy Reid after 12 games, and to believe that he's incapable of making the changes that they need to make after a season like this, I just don't buy that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm a fool. Maybe he'll come back out here next year with all the RPOs and all the same personnel and all the same coaches, and they'll suffer the same issues. But I think that this Brett Veach, Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, these are really smart guys, and maybe they're off the mark a little bit this year, but I do think that they can fix it. Do you think they can fix it? And what are your like top 3 things? Let's say it doesn't work out.
I think
they don't make the playoffs?
Okay.
What do you do in the off season?
I would clear out a lot of the deadwood on this roster, starting with Juwan Taylor and just putting Jalen Moore there. I would cut Christian Fulton since they apparently have no use for him. I would cut Mike Dana, who has been nothing short of invisible the entire season. Charles Mena, who's gone anyway, I'll let him walk. I'd cut Drew Tranquil as well. Okay, so if you cut Tranquil, Dana, Taylor, and Fulton, that's $40 million in cap space. It's about $18 million that you got to eat, but it's $40 million in cap space. I would convert Mahomes about $35 million base to bonus, open up that cap space because they're way over the cap right now. So by doing the things I just mentioned, you go from being way over the cap to having about 35 to 40 million in space. I would let a lot of their prospective free agents walk out the door. The only free agents that I would try to at least explore keeping, depending on the price, and I'm going to not mention one guy because I'm putting him in a different bucket, so I'll get to him there in a second. Jalen Watson, I would try to sign if I can get him for cornerback 2 money. Like, if I can get him for like 3 and 36, I'd give him that. I think he's worth that money. Brian Cook, I would bring back, but only if I can get him at my price. I'm not paying him Justin Reed money. He's not as good as Justin Reed. Like, I would give him, I don't know, 3 years and $18 million, something like that. Seems reasonable, like a Noah Gray contract. By the way, Noah Gray's another guy. Are you cutting him or not? That's an interesting call there. I probably would keep him, but it's an interesting decision. And then Leo Chenal. I would probably bring him back at a reasonable rate, which he's not going to cost a lot of money anyway. Pinnell's gone. Amenahu's gone. Tillery's gone. Noddy's gone. And don't fucking trade for him and bring him back. He's gone. Like he's gone. It's enough. My God, it's enough. He's gone. Juju, Hollywood, Pacheco, Tonyan, throw him in the. They're all of them are gone. All of them. All of them. Bye. Get out. See it. And then, look, I think you'd have to start looking at the two guys I didn't mention. They were free agents. Kareem Hunt, I would bring back on a very, very, very cheap deal as a short yardage back, as a third down, like a Jerick McKinnon type player. If they're bringing him back to carry the load, it's FBI level investigation time. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then the other one is Kelsey. Like, if Kelsey retires, and he retires, and that's easy enough. If Kelsey wants to continue to play, the guy's on pace for 1,000 yards this year. Like, I would bring him back, but I got to tell you, they're going to have to do it in an interesting way because it's going to be a one-year deal. You can't have a massive cap hit, so maybe you add some void years to it. Maybe he takes $10 million, something like that. But I would not go out and sign a bunch of free agents. I wouldn't. I would at least I wouldn't go out and sign a bunch of splash free agents, even if they open up the cap space. If I'm the Chiefs, I'm signing 3 to 4 players who I feel like are good, solid players. They're not superstars, but they're good players. The Justin Reeds of the world, the Drew Tranquils of the world. Guys like that when they sign them. Like guys who just are good football players, who just can come in and they're not going to make a Pro Bowl. They're not going to be an all-pro, but they are going to be an asset to your team. The first time they signed Mike Edwards, for an example, another guy like that. Like a guy who's a pro's pro, who's going to come in and he's going to play the scheme right, and I can just set it and forget it. I don't have to, and I also don't want to bring in guys who are 30-plus years old. Like, find those guys who are coming off rookie deals, so you're like, okay, that guy can be an asset at a reasonable price. And then I think the draft, look, they've got to find an edge rush. They have to. I don't care. Like, Gelati, that's great. They draft in the third round. He's done absolutely nothing. He's invisible in every game he's in. I actually think Norman Locke can play, but he's coming back off the ACL. Like, they have to invest in the D-line. They've got to find the dynamic running back. The good news is there's a lot of them in free agency. And then I actually, look, early in the draft, I would try to draft another receiver, pair him with Rice and Worthy. Like, I'm trying to build an offense that can just score 34 points a game. I don't care. I have the line when they're healthy. I have the quarterback. If Kelsey comes back, I've got the tight end at least for another year. I've got a number 1 receiver. Worthy's a 2 to 3. I think he's a 2 when he's healthy. This year he's playing more than 3, but he's beat to shit. Bring in, add another receiver to the mix. Add one other receiver to the mix who's, good for 800, 750, 800 yards. And to me, but that's what I would do with this team. That's where I would go with this. It's not like they need to revamp everything, but they do have to fix, enough.
From a scheme perspective, what do you think they should change? A lot of comments from people saying, "Hey, bring in Ryan Day, bring in." I don't think Ryan Day. Ryan Day's got a pretty good job there.
He's not
making a lot of money at Ohio State, but I've seen. I think I saw somebody say Mike McCarthy. Bring in a new offense. We talked about on the podcast, I think a week ago, me and Adam Best, remember they had Brad Childress as the spread game coordinator and somebody in that kind of role obviously it's still going to be Andy's offense, but somebody to bring in some fresh ideas. Matt Nagy, obviously not popular. I think it's difficult to know what his exact impact is for us sitting here. We're not in the building. We don't know what plays he's pushing, what he's not, but he is the offensive coordinator and the offense isn't working exactly how you would like to see it from an execution standpoint. The not running under center enough, it works for them. They just won't do it more than a couple times a game. What big changes there do you think that they should make to maybe stop? It seems like everybody's just on to them and what they do now, and it costs them.
By the way, Major, I appreciate you for being here. Brian Cook is a better player than Mike Edwards. Mike Edwards runs like me. But I appreciate the thought. Look, I think I'm not a big guy. I'm like, oh, they should fire this person, fire that. I got to be honest. I think Matt Nagy at this point, they need somebody else as their offensive coordinator. And it's not because, look, I want to be clear with this. Matt Nagy does not call the plays. I don't care that Andy is like really ambiguous with it. Andy Reid, that's Andy Reid's offense. Okay. The problem I have with Matt Nagy is Matt Nagy, it feels like there's no accountability on that offense ever. And he's in charge of the install every week. And every week I watch these games and there are just penalties galore. And they're not disciplined in the way they run routes. How many times we watch games and go, man, if that guy runs that route a little differently, or yeah, okay, it's on the positional coaches, but like it's on you as the offensive coordinator, man. You're the offensive coordinator. Like, and if Connor Embry can't get Xavier Worthy to run a post route correctly, then fire him. Like, it's ridiculous. This is the NFL. I would like to see them bring in a different offensive coordinator. And I know a lot of people say Eric Bieniemy. And look, I loved Eric Bieniemy when he was with Kansas City. I wouldn't bring back Eric Bieniemy. I would try to go in and bring somebody like with a fresh perspective. Somebody else. I'm not the biggest Dable guy in the world. But like if Mike McDaniel gets fired in Miami, like him. Like someone like that who can scheme things up. If I've got to listen to one more person tell me, well, the Chiefs just can't beat man coverage. Bro, I cover the whole NFL for Sports Illustrated. It is my job to watch all these teams. Do you know how many times I watch teams that would kill to have half the Chiefs' offensive talent that scheme guys open all the time against man coverage? It's constant. It's all over the league. The Chiefs pretend like they just have no idea how to get any of these guys open. Like they run 4.2 40s. You kidding me? You can't get open? I think you have to bring in somebody who's proven over the years to have really good verse man concepts and add that in. You've got to do that. You also have to you have to have an under center game and not just a running game. You've got to be able to throw from under center as well. Like you've got to have more of that in your repertoire. They don't have any of it. And it's part of the reason that they don't run the ball from under center because no one ever believes they're going to throw the ball from under center. So it becomes harder. It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to fool people with when you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, well, guess what? You're never going to actually do this over and over and over because you can't have enough variance. Like that's the problem here. That's the problem, in my opinion. And look, there's a lot of things we can go into, right? I mean, there's a million things, but I think they've got to figure out how to continuously beat or start to beat. I shouldn't say continuously. Start to beat man coverage consistently. And their under center game just stinks. And it's got to change. There's no excuse for why they should not consistently be able to get under center and play action out of it and run the ball out of it. Those are two things they need to be looking at this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the Schwartz brothers, former offensive linemen for the team, screaming about it on Twitter for weeks now. The Chiefs need a running game as well. It's going to help all of this stuff.
No doubt.
People actually afraid of the running backs in the backfield. It creates a huge problem. Ask, where would the Bills be this season if they didn't have James Cook? Where would they be?
They'd be 5-7.
They'd be
That's
toast.
what they'd be.
You don't think it helps Jared Goff to have to David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs running around back there? Think it helps him get the ball out of there on time? And I mean, it's insane that Mahomes has to play with great value running back stable every single year just because it worked in the past. So I hope they figure that out. Listen, Chiefs Kingdom, we got another great giveaway for you for our Arrowhead Addict members. Each month, we're running an exclusive giveaway just for our members. And in December, we got some fantastic prizes lined up. If you're in our Ring of Honor tier, you'll be in the running to win a Trent McDuffie jersey. And if you're in any of the other tiers, you will be in for a Chiefs hat. If you're not already a member, all you have to do to be eligible to win is be a member by the end of December. We'll announce these giveaways live on the OG Hour on the first Thursday of every month. So be sure to tune in. Signing up's easy. Just click the link in the description of our YouTube video. Members get exclusive giveaways like this. They have access to our private Discord with the hosts, member happy hours, fantasy football leagues, and more. We'd love to get to know you better. So what are you waiting for? Become an Arrowhead Addict member today. And today is the first Thursday of the month, which means last month's November prizes, which were, I believe it was a Xavier Worthy jersey. That's going to our guy, Angry Drunken German. Angry Drunken German, get in touch with producer Sean on the Discord. You have won. It looks like we're sending a jersey there. And Scott Peel, you win the Chiefs T-shirt. So get in touch with producer Sean so we can get you fitted. Congratulations. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we are going to break down this crucial. We're not giving up on the season yet. Even if it's bleak, we're not giving up. Chiefs are still have a chance. We'll preview this Texans game on the other side of the break. It's the Arrowhead Addict podcast. All right, Arrowhead Addict fam, let me set the scene for you. It's like 20 degrees in Chicago. We've got 8 inches of snow out there, and all I want to do is stay inside by the fire, wrapped in the bubble cuddle blanket from Cozy Earth. I'm not going anywhere. Cozy Earth makes these insanely soft sheets crafted from viscose from bamboo that actually helps you sleep cooler. You can pile on the blankets now without waking up in a sweat. It's perfect for crashing after a long day or a late night football game that doesn't go your way. And the bubble cuddle blanket, it's got this textured bubble design and it's soft faux fur feel. It's midweight. It drapes over you perfectly. It's become my go-to for the couch, bed, and basically anytime I decide I'm not leaving the house. Here's the best part. Cozy Earth backs it up with a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty. So yeah, they know you're going to get hooked. Give the gift of luxury this holiday season. Go to CozyEarth.com and use our code Arrowhead for up to 40% off. And make sure to use it by December 12th to guarantee Christmas delivery. If you're listening after the 12th, the code still works year-round for 20% off. And if you see a post-purchase survey, tell them you heard about Cozy Earth on the Arrowhead Addict podcast. Give the gift of comfort that lasts beyond the holidays and straight into a very cozy new year. All right, we're back. The Arrowhead Addict podcast, OG Hour. Patrick Allen, Matt Verderame from Sports Illustrated. Time to preview this Chiefs Texans game. Chiefs are 6-6, as we all know.
We have to.
We got to do it, and I'm scared. And what the heck's the Texans record?
7-5.
7-5. Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites. They're at home. Over under for this game is a putrid 41.5. So as we know, the big thing about this game is the offensive line injuries. Everybody's hurt. Josh Simmons is out for at least 4 weeks, dislocated wrist. Juwan Taylor's been hurt. You could be staring. I mean, earlier I said, hey, if I told you in August that the Chiefs would have a top 10 everything and be 6-6 and missing the playoffs. What if I told you in August that just before Christmas here, you'd be staring down the barrel of Wanye Morris, Kingsley Suamatia, Creed Humphrey, Mike Caliendo, and Jalen Moore as your starting offensive line against the Texans?
Tell you that season has not gone the way you'd hope. Listen, I mean, not like being funny or anything. Like, all kidding aside, this game's really easy to preview. Like, if they block it, they'll win, and if they don't, they won't. Like, I mean, that's. I know that's not like unbelievable high level analysis, but that's kind of the story of this game. Now, here I'll say this, and I said this on my own podcast. I've said this all over this week. They played the Texans twice at the end of last season, both at Arrowhead. Both games had Joe Thuney at left tackle, and both games had Mike Caliendo as starting guard. The Texans in those games had 4 sacks total. The Chiefs were able to just deal with it. And I don't think that Jalen Moore against Juwan Taylor, I don't think that's a huge drop-off. I think they'll be okay with that. It's more going to be about Wanye Morris, who is an abject disaster at left tackle. And Andy's going to have to do something that he doesn't want to do. He's going to have to double, and he's going to have to chip constantly. That's just reality. And he hates doing it, and he's going to have to just get over it in this game. I'm not exaggerating when I say it. I really mean this. On some third downs, I would put 6 offensive linemen on the field. Get Noah Gray off the field and put 6 offensive linemen out there. I don't care. If I am the Chiefs, if I protect that guy, we're winning. We're winning the game. And if I got to do some unconventional stuff in this game, fine. Then I'm going to do it. And if it's not that extreme, then I'm putting Robert Tonyan in the game instead of Noah Gray, and I'm just using him to block. That's all I'm doing. And I'm just telling him, you are not to release unless it is a dire scramble situation. That's it. I'd roll the pocket. I would run about 15 jet sweep motions in this game. Not that I'd hand off every time, but I would hand off the first couple times, and I would try to slow down those edge rushers. I would try to make them think about the motion. I would run screens. I mean, I would do everything you can think of to slow them down and say, you know what? I'm willing to have to play a little bit of field position in this game. You are not going to get the big turnover. You're not going to get the big play. I think it's the way Major, by the way, I'm with you. Thank God. I don't want to have to deal with this tape. You have to get rid of the ball quickly. This cannot be a drop back. We're trying to hit some deep ball. Yeah, sure, scheme up a deep ball or two, but it can't be consistently a part of the game plan. Defensively, if I respect Spagnuolo, I'd basically sit down watching at McDuffie this week and say, look, flush the game against Dallas. I don't care. We are playing you in man coverage. We are going to blitz like crazy. We have to get home. We have to get pressure. And we're gonna put a lot on you guys. Nico Collins is a great receiver. They don't have anybody else. Their receiving core stinks outside of Collins. I am willing to just say, if I'm the Chiefs, look, I'll bracket Collins on third down. I'll single up everybody else. Beat me. We are bringing pressure over and over and over and over and over and forcing that ball out of Stroud's hands. They have no deep game to speak of. Stroud has thrown 9 balls that he's completed this year over 20 yards in the air. 9. They don't do it. Because they have no deep threat. They can't do it. Like, the Chiefs, I am ultra aggressive defensively, and offensively, the ball's out in under 2.5 seconds. And I'm moving him around, and I'm running a lot of motion, and I'm running a lot of screens. I think that's the way you have to play this game. And if you do that and you're successful in it, and you don't kill yourself with mistakes like penalties and turnovers, I think they probably win the game. But they're going to they have to execute, which is something that obviously has been a problem for this team in a massive way all year long.
It's a limited Texans offense, as you mentioned. They've got Nico Collins. They have no real running game. I mean, they've got Nick Chubb's corpse running around out there. They've got this rookie Woody Marks, who's not bad, but he's a 7th round pick. I mean, so and they haven't been able to really run the ball all year. What they do, as you mentioned, that the Chiefs have to avoid is they turn people over. They're +9 in turnover differential this year. And that's the difference for a team that has had Davis Mills starting a bunch of games for them this year, and they've still been able to win because of this defense. This defense sacked Josh Allen 8 times. At the end of that Bills game, when he had to throw, I'd never seen anything like it. He had no chance. They were all over him. And of course, he tends to hold on to the ball, but so does Patrick Mahomes. So I'm with you. That ball's got to come out. My worry in this game is the Texans are going to be ready for that. I mean, they know the Chiefs have offensive line issues. Andy's been pretty good about scheming, letting guys through, having the screen behind them. I would watch out in this game if I'm Patrick Mahomes for batted down passes. Because when they run all those RPOs and these teams know that ball is coming out quick, he's been getting a ton of batted passes because they know they can't get home. They can't get there, so their arms are up. And a lot of times, and we saw it with that play in the the Denver game? We threw that interception on the quick arc. Was it the Denver game, the first play of the game where he threw? Or was that Dallas where he threw? They did the RPO. They were backed up, and he threw a pick.
Oh my God! What are we talking about? Dallas they picked off in the first possession.
Yeah, first play, or second play, right? Yeah. It was an RPO. He was trying to get the ball to Rice, and he threw it right to the guy. So I worry about those plays because it's like Mahomes doesn't think. He's just like, this is what I'm doing with the ball. So I just hope that the Texans aren't ready for that and have a plan for it. And then we end up with like a clunky offense that's going to be that's coming out too gimmicky to try to survive their pass rush. And then where we end up with a lot of 3 and outs. These guys are number 1 in passing yards allowed defensively, and number 4 in rushing yards allowed. So this is a tough defense. Can the Chiefs get in the end zone against this team? Because that's the other concern that I have is all the field goals they kick. You go back and you look at these games that they lost, as you mentioned one of the games where they just could not get against the Bills, couldn't get the ball in the end zone. This is one of those situations where if they're kicking a bunch of field goals, then the Texans are hanging around the entire game, and you don't want that.
Yeah, they can get in the end zone. I mean, look, again, we talked about this earlier. They move the ball and score points. Their problem is they just beat themselves in just absurd way. Like, my biggest concern in this game offensively is he gets strip sacked or he gets hit as he's throwing it, and they turn the ball over, and they take like 5 holding penalties in this game because Wanya Morris is basically a coat for Will Anderson Jr. Like, that's the concern. Is it's just they're moving the ball, holding penalty. Now the try's over. They're moving the ball. Oh, you got strip sacked. They're moving the ball. Oh, you took another holding penalty. They're moving the ball. Oh, yeah, illegal formation because they don't know how to line up correctly. Like, that's the concern I have. Yeah, if they execute, sure, they can score a bunch of points. Like, as terrific as Houston's defense is, this is Patrick Mahomes, and they have weapons. Like, how many teams, even with and I totally understand, Worthy this year has not been what we thought he'd be this year, and I think to be fair to him, largely because he's completely mangled, his ankle, his shoulder, everything. But like, how many teams have quarterbacking play like Mahomes? 0. The answer is 0. How many teams have Kelsey, Rice, Worthy, Brown as your top 4? Like, the Chiefs are going to threaten the Texans in ways that, like, most teams just can't. But the Chiefs have to execute. And if the Chiefs go out and they execute, I think they'll win the game. But if the Chiefs go out and they do what they did against Jacksonville for 3 quarters, if they do what they did against Dallas in the second and third quarter, if they do what they did against Denver all game long, they just constantly. I mean, I think Denver is the best example of like what you might expect in this game. If you go back and look at that game, right? You look at the Chiefs' output offensively and go, well, they scored 19 points. Fair, right? The Chiefs in that game had 311 yards, which isn't some crazy amount of yards. It's not like a great, number by any means. They were 1 of 4 in the red zone. Like, that's why they lost. And they lost the turnover battle on a pick in the red zone. That's why they lost the game. That's why. I mean, they dropped the ball that would have led to a field goal in that game, or at least field goal attempt. Whether he hits it or not, it's a long field goal, but right before the half. They lost 7 points when they should have first and goal to 2, but they're them, and they took a penalty, and then he threw a pick after that. I remember going through it after the game. I can't even do it off the top of my head, but there were multiple spots in that game where if they just execute like a normal football team, they would have had 10 to 13 more points. Like, inarguably, 10 to 13 more points. They should have scored 30 points in that game, but they just beat themselves over and over and over. It's like, yeah. That's how you lose in the NFL. That's it. Like, that's what happens. I think the Chiefs could score in the high 20s in this game, but they have to execute. And if they don't execute, they will lose.
Andy Reid has said that if Juwan Taylor's not able to go, Jalen Moore will probably play right tackle, and Wanya Morris will play left tackle.
Yeah, don't get me started.
Why? Wanya Morris played a lot of right tackle and they brought Moore in. They thought he was going to be their left tackle before Simmons fell to him in the draft. What is the thinking there?
I don't know. I mean, I have absolutely no fucking clue why they do what they do. This is what I mean when I say like the coaching's been awful this year. Who knows? Jalen Morris played left tackle his entire career. Wanya Morris has been objectively better as a right tackle than a left tackle, and the Chiefs are like, that's fine, switch him.
I don't get it.
I don't know. I have no idea. Like, and by the way, they were asked about it in the presser today. Nobody can give an answer. No one can give an answer. It's just like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just what they want to do. Like, can you explain it? Can you give any reasoning beyond just like this stupid coach speak bullshit you guys do? Like, can anyone actually break out like, hey, here's why. Here's why we're doing what we're doing. Because on the surface, it does make no sense. Morris is clearly better at right than he is at left. Moore's been a left tackle. So you sign the guy to be your left tackle. And they've just up and decided, like, that's all right. No idea. No clue. None.
We got a super chat from Justin Hayes about Andy Reid's tickling the tonsils comment, which if you guys haven't seen that, that's basically what he said. They were like, why do you think you could turn it around? And Andy was basically saying, we always come to play hard. We're going to tickle your tonsils. He wants to know do you think that comment was a sign of some life from Andy Reid, who is mainly his refrain has just been, we're close. We got to clean a few things up. Not, we're going to come and punch you in the mouth, which is a weird way of saying that with the tonsil comment.
I mean, I'm not going to even touch this whole thing with a 10-foot pole, man. I don't know. Like
Laramie tonsil.
I mean, do I think it's a sign of life? No. I think it is just Andy being Andy. But it'd be nice if like they scheme something up that matters in this game. Who knows, man? By the way, Mitch Schwartz just tweeted out a minute ago in response to the whole thing about who's playing at what side. He said, if this is a pass game thing, the only thing I can think is Moore versus Anderson is what they're after, ? But if that's the case, I think Danielle Hunter is the worst matchup for Wanye at left tackle with how he sets and blocks. Then Moore is positive against Anderson. I am still flummoxed. So we're not the only ones. One of the best right tackles in like the last 50 years also has no idea what the hell they're doing.
The Cookie
played for the team.
A bad matchup for one
team, and he's like, I have no idea.
It does. It's the strangest thing. I don't know if they've got some kind of plan. I don't get it. But yeah, the Cookie Monster is a bad matchup for Wanya Morris. Yes. He's just not good. I don't know what else to say about it. So look, man, the Texans are 8th in sacks with 34. The Chiefs are 27th with 22. We'll see. This is it, though. If they get past this game with this offensive line and they, as you pointed out, execute, eliminate the penalties, get the ball in the end zone, stop kicking the ball out of bounds and into the end zone, just take the free yards teams are willing to give them instead of insisting on trying to run the ball back so they could start their drives at the 15 instead of the 35.
Yeah.
If they do all those common sense things and they win this game, then, you're looking at a team here that has a chance to get into the playoffs. And I think at this point, that's all we could all hope for, and then see if they can actually catch some wind in their sails. After this game against the Texans, they're home again against the Chargers, who are their quarterback's going to be playing with one hand in that game. They're banged up all over the place. It's at Arrowhead, even though they did lose to them earlier this season. Then they go on the road to play a terrible Tennessee Titans team. And then they come back on Christmas Day, just a few days later, to host the Denver Broncos, a team that they went to Mile High and played with. So they chances are they could take them at Arrowhead, and then they play the Raiders. My dream for the end of this season is if they can't win the Super Bowl, I want one or two things to happen. I either want them to lose a bunch of games down the stretch so they get a better draft pick. So maybe they actually could get an edge rusher and move up. They want to move up as far. And I never want to root for the Chiefs to lose. So I'm just talking about when I'm on the other side, what has the outcome been if they can't win the Super Bowl? Or it would be satisfying to see them get into the playoffs as that 7 seed and see Denver get the 1 seed. And after all the mess all these Broncos fans have been talking all season long, see the Chiefs go in the second round, go in a Mile High and ruin the Broncos season. That would at least be satisfying for me.
If the Chiefs play the Broncos in the playoffs, they're going to beat them. I don't know if the Chiefs would. Yeah, I'll put that down in stone right now. The Chiefs, I obviously it would be in Mile High. It doesn't matter. The Chiefs, if they play them in a playoff game, they'll beat them. I don't look. I'm still one game at a time with the Chiefs right now because you have to be. But look, I've said this all year, and I'm going to stick with it because I believe it. If they get in the playoffs, they're dangerous as hell. Because with the Chiefs, there is a fear factor playing them that doesn't exist with any other team in the NFL. And I don't care. Any fan base can say whatever they want. They will be. There's no other way to say this. They will be shitting their pants if that team comes into their building in a playoff game. Nobody. You think people are lining up to play that team in a playoff game? I get it. All the flaws they have, all the Denver fans, if you're a Broncos, you could talk as much crap as you want. You want them in a playoff game? Are you kidding me? No, you don't. You want the Chargers, you want the Jags, you want the Colts, you want Pittsburgh. The Chiefs to be favored in any playoff game they're in. I promise you that. If they get into the playoffs, the only game I think that they wouldn't be favored in is if somehow they played Buffalo and Buffalo. And I think even that game, they're like a 1.5 dog. Like, plus you also have the fact of this year, too. If they get to the playoffs, it's probably because they won out. Like, at that point, everybody and their mother's going to be picking them. So, yeah, look, if they get in the playoffs, they're extremely dangerous because it's a one-off. That's what's scary about them. It's not about, like, everybody looks at it the wrong way. It's like, oh, they got to win X amount of games in a row. No, they don't. The playoffs are a singular elimination tournament in the NFL. You're not down 3-0 in a series. Like, you need to win one game. And they are terrifying. And there's a reason they've been as great as they've been in the playoffs. Spagnuolo might be the best defense coordinator ever in one-off situations. The Chiefs typically have been very good in one-off situations offensively as well. Like, if they had to go to Denver or Jacksonville or even New England in a playoff game, they're going to be favored. Like, they're going to be favored to win the game. That would be, I think, a very scary scenario for anybody they face. But they got to get there. And they put themselves in a position where they may have to win every game. But I would start out with this. They have to win these next two. They win these next two, you come up, you look around, where are they in the playoff picture? But they've got to win these next two games.
We hope they can. We'll start with our final score predictions for this game. Before we get out of here, if you're in the chat, start thinking about what your final score prediction is and fire it off there. We want to know. We're just going to take a quick break before we get out of here and then final score predictions. And my parents live about 400 miles away, and they don't get to see my son as much as any of us would like. It's especially hard right now because we're around the holidays. So I set them up with an Aura frame, and now I'm constantly dropping new photos of him straight to their frame from my phone. First day of daycare, goofy face at breakfast, wearing our favorite team's gear on Sundays, whatever it is, it just pops into their living room like we're right there with them. What I love is how easy they make it. Unlimited free photos and videos. You download the Aura app, connect to Wi-Fi, and you can keep adding new memories anytime. You can even preload photos before it ships so that it's already packed with memories you know they'll love. You can't wrap togetherness, but you can frame it. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using our promo code Arrowhead at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code Arrowhead. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast. So order yours now and get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. All right, it's the Arrowhead Addict Podcast OG Hour. It is time for our final score predictions. Chiefs hosting the Texans. Verderame, you're the guest today. Kick us off.
I think the game is a coin flip. They're at home. They've been good at home. I'll pick them to win 20-17. I think defensively, this is a good matchup for the Chiefs in this game because Houston doesn't play action. They don't threaten you deep. They don't really threaten you running the football, and the offensive line's not very good. This is kind of a classic Spagnuolo game where they just go after them. And I don't know that Houston couldn't get to 20 points in either of the last two games against the Chiefs, and they had Mixon in those games. They had Dell in the first game before he unfortunately got hurt in the third quarter. I don't think Houston can do a lot offensively. So I think the Chiefs win, but I think it's very tight. And I think it's a nail biter. I'll say, I'm going to cover. I think they win by a field goal. I'll say, 23-20, 2017. I'll say 2017.
I hope you're right. I've been picking the Chiefs all year, believing in what they've shown in the past and when they can turn it around. But as I've often said on this show and even on the website, when I used to run arrowheadaddict.com, until they give me a reason to pick them, I'm not going to pick them. And the way that things have gone this year, and if the offensive line was intact, I'd be on the Chiefs in this game. But I am very, very, very nervous about the way this Texans defense pass rush is playing right now, particularly their last three games, and the issues that the Chiefs have on the offensive line. I just feel like their luck, their magic. It's run out a little bit this year, and they may need to have to go back to the drawing board, and that this is going to be a lost season. Give me the Texans 20, Chiefs 16 in a game where I fear that they're just not going to be able to get in the end zone enough because of the offensive line issues. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be here on the Arrowhead Addict post-game show eating crow, but that's how I see it right now. Jack says 28-17 Chiefs. JCP 24-14 Chiefs. We'll take it. I mean, I hope you're all right. Clifton says 28-21 Chiefs. Darren didn't put in a prediction. That was something else. Okay. We'll see, everybody. Listen, we're going to be back here for the Arrowhead Addict. We'll have our pregame show, our halftime show, and, of course, the Arrowhead Addict Chiefs postgame show after Sunday Night Football. Take a deep breath. It is what it is at this point. They gave us a lot of really fantastic memories. I'm not writing their eulogy yet. Major says, damn, PA is a realist. Blasphemy. I'm getting toward. Let me have it. I want to be wrong. I want them to turn it around. But after that Cowboys game, losing to Trevor Lawrence, it's 12 games of evidence that maybe this just isn't this year. And boy, if they can win this one, they'll probably just do this to get me excited and then turn around and lose to the Chargers. Is probably what they'll do. It would make sense based on how their season's gone. Thank you to Matt Verderame from Sports Illustrated for joining me. You got anything coming out right now over there at SI that people can read?
Quarterback rankings are out right now. They went up this morning. 3,000 words of goodness. And then tomorrow on Friday, the preview file, which is just me previewing the 5 best games of the week, breaking them all down. Chiefs Texans are in there with predictions. And then Sunday, the good, the bad, and the ugly, which are right every single Sunday. You can check that out over on SI.com. And of course, you can find it also on my Twitter feed.
All right. Appreciate you, Matt. Thank you to producer Sean. Again, hit the like button on your way out if you're watching on YouTube. We'll see you on Sunday. But until then, as always, go Chiefs.